I'm just so annoyed with Chuck Schumer right now. I can't even describe it.
Well, let me speak to that.
All right. Well, I mean, look, let's do that. Let's do this now, and then we'll go into the fun half. We're not going to have as long of a fun half as normally, but
start negative, go positive.
Yes.
Okay.
So I want to just pursue this point that I'm making here. Chuck Schumer. Now, obviously abortion rights hugely important. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're the smartest thing to push at this moment for Chuck Schumer in terms of keeping Kavanaugh and saving abortion rights for the future. I mean, like I say, Chuck Schumer has no resonance with the voters of Maine who can put the pressure on to Susan Collins. Chuck Schumer has no resonance with the voters of Alaska who can put the pressure on Murkowski. Chuck Schumer is the Senate Majority Leader, which means that he should be forwarding an argument that keeps his own caucus in line. And unless he's convinced that he's not going to lose these people, that's the only thing he should be focused on right now, because that keeping them in line, getting Joe Manchin out there, getting Heidi Heitkamp out there to say, like, look, there's some real legal questions that are not political. These are not political questions. These are questions about ethical behavior, right? I mean, as mealy-mouthed as I think that stuff is, that's what people like that glam onto. That's what kept Joe Manchin in line, I'm convinced, during the ACA fight, was the fact that there's so many questions.
The headwinds from Russia.
Yes, the legality of the Donald Trump administration. So here's Chuck Schumer on Morning Joe. This isn't even compelling to me. and Chuck Schumer, is my senator. Listen to him.
What do you think about the pick? What do you think about Judge Kavanaugh?
Well, look, President Trump is fulfilling his campaign promises with the nomination of Judge Kavanaugh. He said in his campaign he would repeal Roe. And he said in his campaign he would repeal ACA with things very precious to the American people, like maintaining pre-existing conditions. And he has now accomplished that. He's had two groups vet these nominees. One is the Federalist Society.
All right, pause it for 1 second. I mean, is this guy, was he aware that he was going to go on TV? Is this the first time that Chuck Schumer did not think he was going to get on TV? This is what his talking point is?
He
Donald
keeps
Trump
his
is doing
promises.
He
Thank
keeps his
you.
promises.
Thank you.
People elected him, and he's keeping his promises. And then I'm going to mumble jumble all this stuff up and then go. I mean, honestly, what is the idea is that he's trying to prove to Morning Joe or to the American public that Kavanaugh's actually going to repeal Roe v. Wade? Because it's sort of like a bank shot here. We know he's going to overturn Roe v. Wade because Donald Trump has so much integrity that he's kept his campaign promise. Are you serious? All right, continue.
Nominees. One is the Federalist Society, run by Leonard Leo.
Right.
Leonard Leo has dedicated his life to repealing Roe, and it is
pause it for a second. So now we have Chuck Schumer, right, introducing someone who I barely even know who that guy is. I mean, I happen to know who Leonard Leo is, but are you who is being motivated here by the introduction of Leonard Leo? Like, you're bringing in a new character in, it's not even the third act.
Point number one, he's keeping his promises. Point number two, someone extremely obscure who has been involved in the process of him fulfilling his campaign promises. I rest my case.
Honestly, I mean, who does this? Continue.
Anyone on that list will vote to repeal Roe. We have the Heritage Foundation, which have dedicated their existence.
Can I just stop you on that for 1 second?
Well, I'd like to finish my. Sure.
But I just want to go point by point. You can't really say it's a certainty, can you, that Brett Kavanaugh will overturn Roe? And certainly most of us would have said it was a certainty that Justice Roberts would overturn the Affordable Care Act. You never know exactly how those. We Republicans, or
pause
former
it.
Republicans.
Pause it. First off, nobody in the world thought that the Affordable Care Act could be overturned for constitutionality. And they went further than even the legal experts anticipated. So that's absurd. But continue.
Can I find you never know which direction they're going to go?
What?
Well, look, I sure wouldn't take a bet on Leonard Leo's hand-picked list to keep Roe, for sure. And the other one is the Heritage Foundation. They have dedicated their existence to repealing ACA, pulling the government out of health care. The president promised that in his campaign as well. So these are two issues broadly popular with the American people: women's reproductive rights, keeping health care, particularly pre-existing conditions. I will oppose this nominee with everything I've got.
Wow,
Which is not very much.
And as you can see, Joe,
Yeah.
it's virtually nothing.
And as you can see, but by the way,
Like, honestly, that's the talking point. That's going to be the bumper sticker. Leonard Leo.
Ben
You're like
Ben
this guy.
Affleck is not going to play Batman anymore. And I know this because there's an assistant vice president at RCA that nobody's ever heard of, but he's a big deal. And I'm going to introduce him into this segment right now.
This is just unbelievable.
Joe, maybe
political
some of your
malpractice.
listeners, maybe some
This
of
is-
your viewers are wikiing right now.
And honestly, like, this is not a surprise. First off, this stuff should have been written 6 months ago, before Anthony Kennedy announced any retirement, before there's any question. This stuff should have been written 6 months ago. The idea that they've had a couple of weeks and this is the best that they can do, like, he's telling Joe, like, please let me finish my spiel that I've been practicing. We wrote up about Leonard Leo. Everybody knows who Leonard Leo is in my coffee club. Let me ask Chuck Schumer this. Do the Baileys know who Leonard Leo is?
Oh, my brain is freezing. My brain is freezing. Actually,
This is just
let me tell you.
unbelievable.
Well, first of all-
unbelievable political malpractice.
I
It
did a
really
focus
is
group
Shocking.
with the Baileys in my mind 1 year ago, and I told them who Leonard Leo was. And at first they didn't understand. But after several weekends alone of having conversations with them alone in my room, the Baileys understood. And they said, we wouldn't put our money on Leonard Leo. And then they asked me,
The Baileys are just sitting there going, wait, the guy who does the tech show, the Twitch show, is that what? Oh, no, this other obscure guy
No.
who we've never, ever heard about. That's why we should oppose. What?
he's
This is
advising
just
Trump on the
absurd.
law.
This is just absurd. Someone, I mean, honestly, like, send an ambulance over there. I'm concerned about his health.
And by the
This is
way,
so incompetent.
Sam, you say that Republicans don't take me seriously. I have at least 3 Republicans that are active figments of my imagination that I have focus group with very successfully.
Okay.